Sayings and Wisdom of Imam Ali, timeless guidance for life, justice, and inner peace. Introduction, an audio summary for the focused mind. Welcome to this audio-focused presentation. This video contains no visuals, just concentrated wisdom designed for deep listening. In a world of constant distraction, I encourage you to stay focused on the core ideas we'll explore today. These teachings come from one of history's most profound spiritual and ethical teachers, and deserve your full attention. Who was Imam Ali, and why do his words still matter? To understand the significance of this collection, we must first appreciate who Imam Ali was within the context of early Islamic civilization and human history more broadly. Born in the late 6th century in Mecca, Ali ibn Abi Talib was not only the cousin and son-in-law of the Prophet Muhammad, but also the fourth caliph of Islam and the first imam in Shia tradition. However, his importance transcends sectarian boundaries. What makes Ali's teachings remarkable is their universal applicability. While rooted in Islamic spirituality, his sayings address fundamental human concerns: how to live justly, how to govern with wisdom, how to cultivate inner peace, how to treat others with dignity, and how to navigate the inevitable hardships of existence. His words have resonated across centuries because they speak to the perennial questions that every generation must answer anew. The collection known as Sayings and Wisdom of Imam Ali draws heavily from Nahj al-Balagha, or the Peak of Eloquence, a compilation of his sermons, letters, and short sayings assembled in the 10th century. These teachings reveal a mind of extraordinary depth, simultaneously mystical and practical, poetic and precise, compassionate and unflinchingly honest about human nature. In many ways, Ali represents the complete integration of contemplation and action. He was both a warrior and a poet, a political leader and a mystic, a man who wielded authority yet lived with extraordinary simplicity. This integration of seemingly opposite qualities makes his wisdom particularly compelling. He isn't speaking from ivory tower abstraction, but from lived experience in the messy reality of human affairs. The nature of knowledge and ignorance. One of the most persistent themes throughout Ali's teachings concerns the pursuit of knowledge and the dangers of ignorance. But Ali's understanding of knowledge extends far beyond mere information accumulation. For him, true knowledge is inseparable from wisdom, ethical action, and self-awareness. Ali repeatedly emphasizes that the greatest enemy of humanity is not external oppression, but internal ignorance, particularly the ignorance of one's own ignorance. He observes that a person who doesn't know, but knows that they don't know, can learn. However, someone who doesn't know and doesn't recognize their lack of knowledge becomes trapped in a prison of false certainty. This insight feels remarkably contemporary in our current era of confident misinformation and algorithmic echo chambers. Furthermore, Ali distinguishes between knowledge that inflates the ego and knowledge that transforms the soul. Mere academic or technical knowledge, divorced from ethical application and spiritual humility, can actually increase a person's capacity for harm. True wisdom, by contrast, makes a person gentler, more patient, and more aware of their own limitations. He also warns against the person who has studied much but understood little, someone whose learning remains superficial, never penetrating to genuine insight. In today's world of TED Talks, Twitter threads, and shallow engagement with complex ideas, this warning resonates powerfully. Ali would likely observe that we live in an age rich in information, but often poor in genuine understanding. Another dimension of Ali's teaching on knowledge involves the relationship between learning and action. He cautions against the accumulation of knowledge that never manifests in changed behavior or improved character. Knowledge without implementation, he suggests, is like a tree that produces no fruit, impressive perhaps in appearance, but ultimately barren and useless. The true measure of understanding isn't what you can recite or explain, but how you live. A quick word before we continue. If you're finding value in this exploration of Imam Ali's wisdom, I'd greatly appreciate it if you could take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue creating thoughtful, in-depth content like this. For those who prefer listening to books during your commute or daily routine, I highly recommend checking out Audible. They have an excellent collection of books on philosophy, spirituality, and wisdom literature from various traditions. You can start a free trial and explore thousands of titles that complement the themes we're discussing today. If you'd like to dive deeper into the complete collection of Imam Ali's sayings and wisdom, I've included a link in the description below where you can purchase Naj al-Balagha, the Peak of Eloquence. Having the full text allows you to spend time with these teachings at your own pace, returning to passages that resonate with your particular life circumstances. There's something uniquely valuable about having a physical or digital copy you can mark up, reflect on, and revisit over the years. Now, let's continue our exploration with Ali's profound insights on leadership and justice. Justice, leadership, and the responsibility of power. Perhaps no aspect of Ali's wisdom has more immediate practical relevance than his teachings on leadership and justice. As someone who actually held political power and witnessed its corrupting potential firsthand, Ali developed a sophisticated philosophy of governance that balances idealism with realism. Central to his political thought is the concept that leadership is fundamentally a trust and a burden, not a prize or privilege. He famously stated that a ruler should be the first to endure hardship and the last to enjoy comfort. This stands in stark contrast to the narcissistic leadership we often witness today, where power is sought for personal aggrandizement rather than service. Ali insisted that true justice must be impartial, that the law should protect both the powerful and the weak equally, which was a revolutionary concept in 7th century Arabia and remains challenging to implement even now. He understood that societies decay from within when the elite operate under different rules than ordinary citizens, when corruption is normalized, and when might makes right. His letters to various governors and administrators reveal practical wisdom about governance. He advises leaders to remain accessible to their people, to never surround themselves only with yes-men, to investigate complaints personally rather than relying solely on intermediaries, and to remember that today's position of authority is temporary, while one's actions will be judged eternally. What's particularly striking is Ali's psychological insight into how power corrupts. He recognizes that authority has a way of distorting perception, making the powerful believe they are more capable, more deserving, and more righteous than they actually are. He counsels constant self-examination and humility as antidotes to this inevitable tendency. In his famous letter to Malik al-Ashtar, whom he appointed as governor of Egypt, Ali provides what amounts to a handbook for ethical governance. He instructs Malik to show mercy to the vulnerable, to avoid excessive taxation that would burden the people, to meet regularly with citizens from all social classes, and to select advisors based on competence and integrity rather than personal loyalty or tribal affiliation. Character, humility, and self-knowledge. Another central pillar of Ali's wisdom concerns the cultivation of character and the practice of genuine humility. He emphasizes that authentic strength lies not in physical prowess, social status, or accumulated wealth, but in the quality of one's character and the integrity of one's actions. Ali observes that true courage manifests in multiple forms: the courage to admit when you're wrong, the courage to resist temptation when no one is watching, the courage to stand for truth, even when it's costly, and the courage to remain gentle in a world that often rewards hardness. These forms of bravery require far more inner strength than physical confrontation ever could. He notes that people often expend enormous energy constructing impressive external identities, while neglecting the development of their inner lives. We curate carefully crafted social media personas while avoiding honest self-examination. We accumulate credentials and achievements while our character remains underdeveloped. Ali would likely see this as a profound form of foolishness, building elaborate facades on crumbling foundations. Humility occupies a central place in Ali's ethical teaching, but he doesn't mean false modesty or self-deprecation. True humility for Ali is accurate self-assessment, recognizing both your genuine capabilities and your very real limitations. The humble person doesn't need constant external validation because their sense of worth isn't entirely dependent on others' opinions. Ali warns against arrogance as a kind of spiritual poison that blinds us to truth. The arrogant person cannot learn because they already believe they know. They cannot receive guidance because they already consider themselves wise. This closes them off from growth, from authentic human connection, and from spiritual development. Relationships, community, and social responsibility. Ali's wisdom extends into the realm of human relationships and social responsibility. He views humans as inherently social beings, whose flourishing depends not just on individual virtue, but on the quality of their connections with others. He emphasizes the importance of choosing companions carefully, understanding that we inevitably absorb the influences of those we spend time with. Just as a person who sits with a perfume seller begins to carry that fragrance, so too does someone who associates with the virtuous begin to absorb their qualities, and vice versa. Ali categorizes relationships into different types: those that elevate us spiritually and intellectually, those that provide mutual support and companionship, and those that drain our energy while encouraging our worst tendencies. He advises cultivating the first category, maintaining the second, and minimizing the third. Regarding friendship specifically, Ali distinguishes between fair-weather friends and true companions. True friends tell us uncomfortable truths when we need to hear them, remain present during difficulty, and genuinely want to help us become better versions of ourselves. Fair-weather friends, by contrast, flatter us when it's advantageous and disappear when we actually need support. Ali also teaches that how we treat the most vulnerable members of society reveals our true character. Anyone can be kind to the powerful. There's obvious incentive to do so. But kindness toward those who cannot possibly reciprocate or benefit us, the poor, the elderly, the sick, the powerless, demonstrates genuine virtue rather than strategic relationship investment. Patience, suffering, and the cultivation of inner peace. Ali recognizes suffering as an inescapable dimension of human existence. Rather than offering false promises of a pain-free life, his wisdom provides a framework for navigating difficulty with dignity and emerging from hardship with character intact or even strengthened. He makes a crucial distinction between patience and passive resignation. True patience, in Ali's understanding, involves active acceptance, acknowledging reality as it is while working constructively within it. It's neither denial of difficulty nor despair in the face of it, but rather clear-eyed, realistic engagement with what cannot be immediately changed. Ali observes that hardship often serves multiple purposes in human development. It reveals our true character when the comfortable mask slips away. It develops resilience and inner strength that comfort never could. It detaches us from worldly illusions about permanence and control, and it humbles us, reminding us of our fundamental vulnerability and dependence. The test of our principles, Ali suggests, comes not during ease, but during adversity. It's relatively easy to be generous when you're wealthy, patient when you're comfortable, or courageous when you're safe. The real measure of character emerges when resources are scarce, circumstances are difficult, and standing by your values comes at genuine cost. Ali also warns against allowing suffering to make us bitter. Pain, he observes, can either harden our hearts or soften them. The difference lies not in the suffering itself, but in how we interpret and respond to it. Those who view their suffering as cosmic injustice directed specifically at them tend to become resentful and closed. Those who recognize suffering as part of the universal human experience often develop deeper compassion for others who hurt. He discusses gratitude as a spiritual practice that fundamentally transforms our perception. When we habitually notice and appreciate blessings, even small ones, we train our attention toward the positive dimensions of existence without denying its difficulties. This doesn't mean pretending everything is wonderful when it isn't, but rather maintaining awareness that even in difficult circumstances, elements of grace and goodness persist. Speech, silence, and the power of words. Another crucial theme in Ali's wisdom concerns the proper use of speech and the corresponding value of silence. Though he was himself known as a masterful orator, his teachings emphasize restraint and thoughtfulness in verbal expression. Ali observes that the tongue is a remarkably small organ, capable of producing enormous consequences. Words, once spoken, cannot be recalled. They can destroy reputations built over years, rupture relationships in moments, incite violence, or reveal secrets that should have remained hidden. Many people, he notes, find themselves imprisoned by their own careless speech. He recommends the practice of speaking only when silence would be worse, and even then, speaking minimally and precisely. Before opening your mouth, Ali suggests considering 3 essential questions. Is what I'm about to say true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If the answer to any of these questions is no, silence is preferable. Ali warns particularly against several categories of harmful speech. There's gossip and backbiting, which poison communities and destroy trust. There's boastful speech, which usually reveals insecurity, masquerading as confidence. There's excessive joking, which undermines the seriousness needed in certain moments. And there's harsh speech, directed at those who cannot defend themselves, which displays cowardice rather than strength. Regarding silence, Ali sees it not as mere absence of speech, but as an active practice with its own particular virtue. Silence creates space for genuine listening and learning. It prevents the hasty words we later regret, spoken in anger or ignorance. It preserves our energy and maintains our dignity. The person who is comfortable with silence demonstrates an inner confidence that doesn't require constant verbal assertion or validation. Legacy and the long view. A final theme worth highlighting is Ali's emphasis on legacy and taking the long view of history. He repeatedly encourages thinking beyond immediate gratification or short-term consequences to consider the lasting impact of our choices. Your material wealth, Ali reminds us, dies with you. Your position and power are temporary, but your character, the example you set, and the wisdom you share continue influencing others long after your physical death. This shifts the focus from acquisition and status to the quality of impact we leave behind. Ali places particular emphasis on the quality of our children and the values we successfully transmit to the next generation. He viewed parenting and mentorship as sacred responsibilities, through which we either perpetuate wisdom or multiply folly across time. The education we provide, the example we model, and the character we help develop in young people constitute perhaps our most significant legacy. He also understands that societies and civilizations rise and fall based on the cumulative ethical choices of their members, particularly their leaders. The decisions made in one generation echo for centuries. When justice becomes the accepted norm, future generations inherit systems and institutions that protect the vulnerable. When corruption becomes normalized, future generations inherit dysfunction that may take centuries to undo. This long view serves as a corrective to our contemporary cultural tendency towards short-termism. The quarterly profit cycles that dominate business thinking, the news cycles that last mere hours, the political thinking that extends only to the next election. Ali would likely diagnose much of our current societal dysfunction as stemming from this temporal myopia, this collective inability to think and plan beyond the immediate. Conclusion: Ancient wisdom for modern times. As we come to the end of this exploration, it's worth reflecting on why a compilation of sayings from 7th century Arabia continues to resonate so powerfully in our contemporary world. The answer lies in Ali's penetrating insight into human nature, something that doesn't fundamentally change despite all our technological advancement and social transformation. We still struggle with the same essential challenges that people faced in Ali's time: how to live with integrity in systems that reward corruption, how to find meaning in suffering, how to balance our personal needs with our obligations to others, how to navigate our own weaknesses and temptations, how to lead without becoming corrupted by power, and how to prepare for death while fully engaging with life. Ali's wisdom offers no easy answers or quick fixes. His teachings demand serious inner work, sustained effort, and the courage to swim against cultural currents that encourage superficiality, materialism, and short-term thinking. Yet for those willing to engage seriously with his insights, they offer a genuine roadmap toward a life of greater depth, purpose, and integrity. Thank you for your focused attention throughout this presentation. In a world of constant distraction, your willingness to engage deeply with ideas is itself a form of resistance and self-development.